The 6 best pacers in Australasia have been invited to compete for $400,000 in prize money in harness racing's ultimate event. Live from Harold Park in Sydney, the Coca-Cola Miracle Mile. Hello, Karen Tai and Dave Morrow with you for this special grandstand presentation. And Dave, a very open field tonight.
It is a very open field, and Level and Vice and WESTBURN Grant drawn out wide, very fast early. So is Franco Tiger, and maybe last year's winner Christopher Vance, an Impressionist, will get the run of the race.
Well, 6 paces in tonight's big one. Let's take a look at the field.
Drawing the favoured inside barrier, Western Australia's Jack Morris. The New Zealand-bred gelding has won 12 of his last 15 starts, including this month's Fremantle Sprint. He's only been unplaced the once, however this will be a jumping class for the 5-year-old.
But Jack Morris is clear and he's far too good again. Final quarter 20.
In barrier 2, Victorian pacer Impressionist. Selected after his win in the Australian Airlines Sprint at Harold Park last Friday, ahead of Zakara and the Unicorn.
Coming right away to win easily. An Impressionist by 3 lengths.
Australian pacing champion Franco Tiger will start from barrier 3. The Victorian pacer has taken out both of the Grand Circuit races run so far this season, the Queensland and Australian Pacing Championships. Appearing for a second time in the Miracle Mile, Franco Tiger's connections will be hoping to atone a disappointing run in last year's event.
Franco Tiger wins.
Starting from barrier 4, defending champion Christopher Vance. The New Zealand pacer produced an impressive recovery to finish third to Blossom Lady in this month's New Zealand Cup after losing 50 metres at the start, and was timed to run his last mile in 1:58. In barrier 5, the third of Victoria's entrants, Level Advice. Along with WESTBURN Grant, one of the fastest starters from a mobile gate, Level Advice produced a season record for the Harold Park course of 1:56.6 last Friday.
Near the line, Level Advice. He's in front and he'll win. Level Advice beat Franco.
And needing all his class from the extreme outside, into Dominion champion WESTBURN Grant. Twice winner of the Miracle Mile in 1989 and 90, the star pacer from New South Wales holds the track record here at Harold Park of 1:55.6, and if he should win, will become the first horse to take out the title 3 times. Only 2 horses have won the Miracle Mile from the outside barrier, the last New Zealand pacer Lacano back in 1980.
Circuit champion WESTBURN Grant in front, he wins the Inter-Dominion. WESTBURN Grant.
Yes, a grand champion, WESTBURN Grant. He came third last year after starting from the outside barrier. Who knows what he'll do tonight? At the moment on the tote, he's currently at 7-2. Let's have a look at the other horses. West Australia's Jack Morris, untested in this company. He's at 9-2. The Victorian duo of Impressionist and Franco Tiger, well, they're at 3s at the moment, so very well supported. Christopher Vance, the defending champion from New Zealand, at 4s, and Level Advice, well, at 12s, not so favoured. Here in the betting ring, getting a little bit quieter now as everybody is getting out there to get a good posse for tonight's race, the big one, this Miracle Mile. Christopher Vance, there's been a lot of support for this horse during the night, just speaking to a few of the bookies. Also, Impressionist and Franco Tiger. West Australia's Jack Morris has gone for 14s into 8s. Impressionist and Franco Tiger, though, look like the horses that everyone's supporting. I like Impressionist. Who do you like, David?
Well, Karen, I've always been a bit of a fan of Impressionist, especially the way he won a heat of the Inter-Dominion earlier this year. I think that this horse has an enormous amount of talent. He's drawn well in 2, and that's going to be a big plus for him tonight with Franco Tiger, Level Advice and WESTBURN Grant, 3 very fast pacers early. I think that those 3 could be certainly making a lot of speed towards the first turn, and of course the big question mark surrounds Jack Morris and can he handle the first turn here at Harold Park. We've seen a lot of horses unable to handle it first up in their first start here. There's Impressionist. He'll be very hard to beat. I think he's going to get one of the sits in the race, as will that horse who's walking just in front of him at the moment, Christopher Vance, last year's winner. But of course that's just my assumptions on the way the race will be run. We've seen a lot of Miracle Miles been planned and thought out long before the race, and all of the plans have come unstuck. I will remember the other horse that won from gate 6, which was Master Quinn, showing us what a great horse he was way back in 1975 when he just sat behind them all smoking his pipe of the turn and then just switched out and went whoosh, and that was the end of the section. And maybe something like Christopher Vance or Impressionist might be able to get that sort of sit tonight and might well do the same again. But certainly a great field. The Australian race record 1:53.9 held by Thorate, and should one of these horses, or should that time go by the board tonight, the winner will collect $75,000 along with the $25,000 bonus. for breaking the Harold Park race and track record of 1:55.6 set by Westburn Grant 2 years ago and winning the race. 1:55.6 will give them 25,000 and 1:53.9 will give them 75,000. They're squaring up behind the mobile barrier for the Miracle Mile of 1992. Jack Morris goes up onto the inside. Impressionist is just back behind them a fraction. Franco Tiger right up on the still. Christopher Vance just a half length away. And towards the outside, Level Advice and Westburn Grant. They'll soon be off. Around the turn they come. The arms will unfold in just a moment, and they're away in the Miracle Mile of 92. Getting out well was Franco Tiger and Level Advice. Jack Morris getting into the 1-1 early. Christopher Vance, 3 wide Westburn Grant, and Impressionist is last of all as they head to the back the first time. Franco Tiger is the leader, leads by a length and a half to Level Advice. Jack Morris is a neck away on the inside and getting the run of the race early on. Christopher Vance, Westburn Grant second last and 2 lengths off to Impressionist last of all as they head down the back the first time, and they start to steady in front, and the first quarter in a sizzling 27.7. Franco Tiger is the leader, a length to the good of Level Advice, a half length off Jack Morris, getting that lovely run last year's winners. Christopher Vance followed then by Westburn Grant, and last of all is Impressionist. Gath is steadying them up in front, and at the moment Franco Tiger is doing it beautifully, a half length to the good of Level Advice. Jack Morris, the Western Australian, running third. Christopher Vance on the outside is fourth, a length and a half then to Westburn Grant, and Impressionist last of all as they come down towards the half mile. They go through the second quarter in 31.6. The leader doing it well with a lap to go, and in front Franco Tiger a length now to Level Advice. Jack Morris, then Christopher Vance, followed by second last Westburn Grant, and Impressionist brings up the rear. 600 to go now in the Miracle Mile, and Franco Tiger doing it very easily at the moment. A length and a half away. Level Advice who's flat out at the moment. A neck away Jack Morris. He hasn't moved yet on Christopher Vance. Westburn Grant has peeled out 3 wide, and Impressionist last of all. Gath still got a lap full of horse with 400 metres to go. 29 for the third quarter. It's Franco Tiger in front, getting a little bit closer now. Christopher Vance, Jack Morris is third, then Westburn Grant. Impressionist, forget about Level Advice as they come to the turn. 200 to go. Franco Tiger is the leader on the outside. Christopher Vance throws down the gauntlet. Franco Tiger and Christopher Vance, and Impressionist racing home along the road. 100 metres to go. Franco Tiger in front of champions right back. Brian Gath. Franco Tiger too good. Beat Christopher Vance. Jack Morris third, then Westburn Grant followed by Impressionist, and Level Advice is last of all. Last quarter in 28, 1:56.7 the time. A brilliant drive by Brian Gath. He won the start with Franco Tiger. The second and third quarters told the story when he was allowed to steady up in front. 31.6 and 29.4 those second and third quarters. He was allowed to win the race there. And when Christopher Vance issued the challenge in the straight, Franco Tiger had plenty left and he came away to win by a length. Great performance by Franco Tiger. The record didn't go by the board, but my word, any budding rangeman learned how to drive then. Brian Gath, a marvellous drive on Franco Tiger, and the Victorian just too strong in the drive to the line. Tony Hurley, he couldn't have driven Christopher Vance any better. In the end, it was Franco Tiger's race, and Franco Tiger goes into the record books, taking the Miracle Mile. Christopher Vance second, and I think you'll find the West Australian Jack Morris has finished in third place. A good performance, 3, 4 and 1 the official placings. Number 3, Franco Tiger, by Beau Scott's Blue Chip out of Tempest Tiger, driven by Brian Gath, and a marvellous performance as he comes back. Second in the race, number 4, Christopher Vance. At the top of the straight, he looked as if he just might have a little bit up the sleeve, but he couldn't match the strides with Franco Tiger in the run to the line. Tony Hurley, he drove a magnificent race, trained by Barry Purdon in New Zealand. Christopher Vance, last year's winner of the Miracle Mile, and third, number 1, Jack Morris. Sean Harney drove the horse to perfection. He also trains the horse, and the West Australian has finished in third place. 1:56.7 the time, 2.5 metres by 5 metres. As Brian Gath, the master rangeman from Victoria, regarded by the best as one of the all-time greats. Franco Tiger in New South Wales, $3.90 the win and $2.30 for the place. Christopher Vance will return $2.10, and Jack Morris, no third dividend for Jack Morris, finishing third. Obviously insufficient starters, less than 8 starters, of course, providing a third place dividend. A marvellous performance, and really he won it at the start. Level Advice tried to match strides with him, but he just couldn't go the early pace. And as I said, the race was virtually run and won in that second quarter, when after going 27-7 the first quarter, he was allowed to just slow it down and run a leisurely 31-6 the second quarter. And it was there really that he was allowed to dictate the terms of the race. And it was going to take a mighty horse to come from behind Brian Gath and Franco Tiger. And here's the replay of that finish again. As Gath looks to the inside, Impressionist wasn't making up the ground. And Franco Tiger was always going to win the race from here. Christopher Vance tried hard, but as valiantly as the New Zealander tried, the Victorian had too much in the run to the line. Franco Tiger too strong for Christopher Vance, with the West Aussie Jack Morris third, and Westburn Grant was on the outside fourth, and Impressionist, not all that far away, has finished officially fifth. Now in New South Wales, if you've got that quinella of 3 and 4, $11.50 the return, and the trifecta on the New South Wales TAB of 3, 4 and 1 has returned $101.20. Brian Gath getting a fairly good round of applause, and why wouldn't he? This fellow has always been regarded as one of the best men ever involved in the sport of harness racing. He's been a champion rangeman for many a long day, and a great performance here. He really did show a champion rangeman's technique in just slowing that pace around that top bend to allow Franco Tiger to come away with the race. Now, I believe there's been a protest. That certainly is unusual, and that's why the all clear hasn't been signalled. Now, I'm not sure what the protest will be for. Now, they've got to wait for this. The protest is third against first, which means the driver of Jack Morris, Sean Harney, has protested against the drive of Brian Gath. Third against first, and should have caused that. The New Zealander Christopher Vance wins the race. Well, that's a sensation. There's the official, there's the warning siren. And let's go down to Karen Ty with the news of the protest.
With us now is the winning driver at this stage, Brian Gath. Congratulations, Brian, on mastery.
Well, there has been a protest, third against first, but we'll have to just wait a while and see what the result of that is. Here is the winning driver, Brian Gath, being interviewed. We'll join that now if we can.
Not at this stage, no. Maybe I beat him by too far.
Well, Brian, you had a lovely run in. You must have been very pleased with the quarters.
I was everything. I was just pleased with the horse. The horse, a marvellous horse. He won without going full butt, and I was very proud of the horse.
He's toughened up in the more seasoned horse this time.
No, he's always been good. He's just another year on him, and he's drawn good, and you know, he didn't have much luck early in his career, but now it's all coming his way. It's wonderful.
Has he silenced his critics once and for all?
Oh, well, I love him anyway. No matter what they say about him, he's good.
Well, Brian, congratulations at this stage. We'll have to let you go now to the stewards and pray,
sure.
But all being well, you'll keep the race.
Oh, I hope so. Thank you.
There is Brian Gath and a masterly display in front.
Well, Brian Gath, we don't know what's going to happen. It was a wonderful win. We thought Christopher Vance down that last straight. Could he take it out for a second time? Only a select band of horses have taken this miracle mile. Westburn Grant, just one of them twice in a row. Well, this horse, Franco Tiger, he won the Queensland Pacing Championship. He just recently at Bankstown won the Australian Pacing Championship, which Westburn Grant came second in. It's been a wonderful season. If he does survive this protest from Jack Morris, the young horse from Western Australia, who was untested in this company, it will cap off a marvellous season here. Have we got any news? David, you might have some news on that protest?
Well, Karen, I'm intrigued by it all. I'm just trying to work out exactly where the interference could have occurred, which allowed Jack Morris's driver to appeal against Franco Tiger being declared the winner. Now, this was the only time I thought that there could have been any interference going out of the straight the first time. Now, from here on in, Franco Tiger was always in front of Jack Morris. And I can't see there that there are any grounds for a protest being upheld. Now, the only other time that I could think of is perhaps if there was some movement by Franco Tiger, of course, in the straight. He did finish up about 4 horses off the fence. Now, whether at some stage when Jack Morris tried to make his run, Sean Harney on Jack Morris thought that Brian Gath took his running, but gee, he would have had to give him a fair-sized prat because he's been beaten 7.5 metres. That's a long, long way. And at no stage did I see anything in the race which would suggest that Jack Morris was unluckily beaten because of any interference caused by Franco Tiger. But as we see them again, here's in front Franco Tiger. That's level advice on the outside. And on the inside, Tony Harney. Now, that's coming down with a lap to go. And at that stage, I didn't see anything which would see the race being taken away from Franco Tiger. Let's go back down trackside, and here's Karen Tighe.
Tippett, the trainer. With me, Glenn Tippett, the trainer of Franco Tiger. A marvellous race tonight. I know there has been a protest. What are your feelings on that?
Oh, no, I've got no feelings on that. I just think the horse went fantastic. He won really well, and to the people at home, to Mum and Dad, Christine and Eric and Heather, you know, don't worry about it. He's got the money.
A great time tonight, but just capping off a marvellous season so far with the Queensland Pacing Championship and also the Australian Pacing Championship.
Yeah, he's going really good. That's the 3 Group 1 races in Australia this year. He's won them all, and Brian said he was never flat out tonight, so I think he's going to win some more too.
No, a lot of the money were on the Victorian horses, Impressionist as well. Were you happy, though, with the way the race was run? He came out, he was leading most of the way, and just down the end straight there, Christopher VANCE was in pursuit, but he held out for a great win.
Yeah, it was just as I expected, you know. Yeah, I thought it would turn out that way, and it did.
What's next on the cards for you, Glenn?
The Trua Memorial on the 12th. That's our next race. Then we go to Perth.
Okay, well, terrific performance tonight. I hope this protest goes the right way for you and Franco Tiger. A fantastic result.
Thanks very much.
There it was, Glenn Tippett, the trainer of tonight's winner. We hope Franco Tiger. Back to you, David.